Welcome to the Tech and Space Leaders Show, where we learn lessons from leaders of the next frontier. I am your host, Lisa Dreher, and I'm really excited to introduce our guest for today, Kumbirai Chipadza. He is the co-founder and managing director of sales at Kuchera. Welcome to the show, Kumbirai.
Thanks, Lisa. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Maybe we can start by having you give just a little bit of background on yourself and Kuchera.
Yeah, thanks, Lisa. So I'm 41 years old. I am currently staying in Germany for the past 8 years. I'm originally from Zimbabwe, and that's where also my story with the mining industry starts, because I grew up in a small mining town called Rishavane, and back in the day, they used to mine asbestos, which was then also banned. And from there is where my love for sustainable mining came as well, because I also realized the difficulties that were there within the community after the mine then shut down. Then people were left without jobs. A lot of people ended up hospitalized from tuberculosis and such diseases that come from the effects of asbestos. So while the mine was getting the asbestos and all the production was okay, it was good and rosy for them. But the moment things changed, it was the community that felt the impact. Then fast forward 10, 15 years later, a new platinum mine was then born in the same area, and the way they are doing their business is quite the opposite. So I'm happy to say that my community is now empowered. A lot of young people have been also been given jobs with the mine itself. A lot of community projects from the football team, sporting teams, and the community is benefiting. So I saw the two sides of how sustainability is very important in mining. So I think also when I speak from a Kuchera perspective, it's something that we take very seriously. When we talk about ESGs, we talk about how we want to collaborate with mines and be able to assist them in terms of their sustainability as well. So my history is also a similar history to one of our co-founders and CEO, Kolisi Sibia, who also comes from South Africa and also grew up in a small mining town as well. So we sort of like, this just happened. It's a coincidence that it happened. So then Kuchera, fast forward, Kuchera was born out of BIM Berlin, which is the company builder for Boima Group, one of the biggest logistics companies in the world. So we started the project 2 years ago as entrepreneurs in residence, focusing in the mining sector. So I'm happy to say that the BIM Berlin program, it's a program whereby you don't just start a company, but you are given time to go into the field. You're given time to be able to see if to validate your assumptions. After validation your assumptions with experts in the field, then you are asked to get letters of intent from potential clients. Then once you have all that, you then go and pitch to the board. And if the board like your idea, then they invest in you. So that is what then happened to us last July. So in 2023, we were able to launch Kuchera. So if you follow Kuchera from last year and to where we are now, it's been a big journey, even in terms of who are we and what we do. But now I'm happy to say we found our niche, and our niche is that we're a performance management platform that assists mining teams and empowers them to set goals, to track their goals in real time. So we found that most mining companies and contractors, they have a lot of data and they have long-term planning, but yet they have short-term problems. So in goal setting, we believe that once the team is aligned and everyone is aligned within the team, from management down to the operators, hence we named our solution Team Up. So it's for the whole team, and everyone can have different objectives. We can have team objectives, we can have individual objectives. So over the past 6 to 8 months, we've ramped up our operations. We're happy to say that we are now actually in 8 different locations with what we call our Kuchera universe, which looks nice when it's on the screen. So yeah, we're a performance management as a service software company.
Wow, amazing. What an amazing story. So, gosh, thank you so much for sharing that. Maybe we can talk a little bit about some of the biggest challenges that you saw in the mining industry that Kuchera was looking now to help solve.
Yeah, so I think just in general, before putting it towards what Kuchera is solving, mining industry has gone through a lot, just like the world. I think in the past 5-6 years, with the lockdown and with the geopolitical turbulence that we have, with the fluctuation of prices, also with the issue of the social contract itself. What does mining mean? What does it mean to the different stakeholders? That has become quite a big problem. Also, the issue of sustainability, like I mentioned it before, the issue of governance itself, from mining corporates to national governments themselves, as well as technology as a challenge, because the technology has advanced rapidly, not only in mining, across the world. We talk about ChatGPT was only in 2022, but it's changed a lot of lives. And so we're at a time where it's just like I always say to my workmates, to say we're at a time the same way that cell phones changed life, the same way WhatsApp changed lives, is the same way that we are in this space now of technology, and especially in mining. Then you'd find that the biggest issue in mining is that it is a traditional old boys field. So even for us, we found it a lot difficult to enter as a new company into a traditional space. You find even right now there's some mines that are still using the same machinery from 80 and 90 years ago, because there hasn't been a real move for technology in mining, because of the cost also aligned to moving to technology, number one. Number two, then there's that constant fear that technology might result in loss of jobs for a lot of people. So those are I'm painting a very bad picture, but it's not all dark and gloom as well. I think the most important things from the challenges that we saw, one of the things that is driving real change in mining space is data-driven decision making. So you'd find that whereas people would say, no, we don't like data, or people are going to lose jobs, if people are empowered to be able to work together with data, then that makes their job actually easier. Then jobs can also be changed or tweaked, so that instead of you being someone who was manually writing the number of truckloads today, with the use of data, you could be remote controlling what is also happening in the same space that you were. So data-driven decision making, I think, is the first step, because like they say, that data doesn't lie as well. And if you can't measure it, then you can't fix it as well. So I think that acceptance on saying data is important. I mean, I'm a football fan. I love Manchester United out in England, but I can tell you right now, even in football, decisions are being made based on data. After every match, they count the number of tackles, the number of runs, the number of recoveries. It's crazy how data is so important. So you can only imagine if they're doing that in football, where there are 22 people, and we have mines where there are over 5,000 people as well. So I think people in mining need to embrace data. That's very, very important. Then the second thing, they need to embrace sustainability. So the way they mine, which is what is also important, that we now have the ability through the data, through digitization, through automation, to be able to make correct decisions in, are we mining in the correct area? In our mine planning, are we doing the correct things? Environmentally, are we sustainable in what we're doing? CO2 emissions, what are our CO2 emissions, or hourly, daily, yearly? So all these things now can be able to be measured. And then we get what we always say, the correct version of the truth in one aspect. Then lastly, I think the other important thing is collaboration. Collaboration for us is also very important from a company perspective. But more importantly, mining companies for a long time have always been at the top of the pyramid. But like I said, the shifting geopolitical turbulences, relationships, as well as fluctuating prices, means that there is a strive and a need now to be able to give benefication to the communities that you're mining in. Because governments have changed their policies, you can't just come and mine and go. So there needs to be that adoption from even the mining houses themselves to work with local, not only to work with the local people in terms of social issues or social relationships. They need to create genuine, long-lasting relationships based on trust and based on relationships based on business as well. So these are the three pillars that I think are very important. They differ ways. One is more towards the technology, the other is towards the environment, and the last is towards the social contract. But I think they all play an important part.
Wow. Okay. So it's amazing what you've accomplished in such a short amount of time. Obviously, having Kuchera out in the field and supporting some of these mining operations. The thing that I think is really interesting is that this isn't really a, I guess, top down management IoT platform where they're just tracking data, but that everyone within the operation can be involved in setting goals and playing a role in helping meet those three aspects that you just talked about. So, can you talk a little bit more about that and really the role that IoT is playing in those mining operations that Kuchera is supporting?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, IoT plays a very, very important role. I think the number one thing that we could talk about is connectivity itself, because you'd find most mines are in remote areas. So just being able to have that connectivity, and more so for us, I mean, I'm going to talk more about that later, but more so for us because of some of our partners. We have not only just Wi-Fi connectivity, but satellite connectivity. This enables the mines to be able to have real-time data. And real-time data then enables them to make decisions promptly, business decisions promptly. I can give an example whereby we can be able to give an alert, a speeding alert in real time. And we are giving it from Germany. The mine is in remote Zimbabwe. And a minute later, they can make a decision. So this is very important, whereas sometimes decisions were made in retrospect, after the fact. Then you got already that has cost you money, or that has cost you productivity. So that ability to be able to have real-time monitoring is very, very important. I think the point that I already mentioned in terms of safety, now because of IoT, you can do things like proximity detection. You could have wearable clothes that are also detectable as well, just from a safety perspective. You could have playback in the unfortunate case of incident playback, or 10 by 10 locator of where your assets are. So it's just it's a lot of things that are possible, but also for us as well. That's why we decided to have our own niche, whereas you are not everywhere and nowhere. So as Kuchera, then our niche was more in terms of the fleet management, asset management, looking at your mechanical data, your safety, and your sustainability. And importantly, all this done under one platform that is also OEM agnostic. It goes across all fleets, whether it's your Komatsu, your Libre, your Bell, your Sani, which is most mines, remember, we are saying they're not yet automated, or to that extent, they're still using different types of OEM trucks as well. So we know, and look globally, we thought energy, lithium or nickel, 2 years ago, it was all the hype. Right now, it's fluctuated. So it means that the energy saving batteries and the like, it's not going to be overnight. So while we are still there, and we still haven't got there, there's an opportunity for us to empower or transform those vehicles that are still from the past as well.
Wow, amazing. So, talk a little bit about the role that partnerships have played in getting Kuchera out into the market.
Yeah. So one of our values at Kuchera is collaboration. We always say we don't compete, we collaborate. Why we value collaboration is because, like I mentioned before, we went into an area whereby we are new and also bringing something new. So we had to co-create with our first early adopters so that they don't see us just as any other company that is just in it for the business side, so that they see us as long-lasting and partners for the future. So collaboration for us is very, very important. Once we get a potential client, we sit down with them, we map objectives together, we co-create the solution so that it's tailor-made for their operations. This has helped us to know in different environments what is best. Then this has also led for our business growing, not just from a marketing perspective, but from a word of mouth, where a satisfied customer tells others in their mining house or other contractors at the same mine. So this is collaboration has helped us. Then from that perspective, we also benefiting from having partners who are specialists. Like we also have Opcom, who are our hardware partner and a satellite provider, and giving us that extra where other companies cannot have satellite. We do have satellite. So trust me, we are in some of the remotest places on Earth. But it's always nice when the people, they actually say, wow, so we are seeing this in real time. So that is always something that is important. So for us, definitely collaboration has taken us thus far, and we continue to collaborate with different partners across the mining value chain.
Excellent. Wow. Okay, so maybe we can talk a little bit about some of the results Kuchera customers have realized so far.
Yeah, we've had totally different results. And I think, like I said before, one of the amazing things was also based actually on the collaborations and the challenges that were faced. So you'd find there's no one size fits all. The challenges can be different. So I'll give an example. One of the first breakthroughs that we got early on was one of our clients had an issue, a particular issue, which was to do with cycle time efficiency. So through using our real-time platform and through setting up objectives together, they were able to reduce cycle time from 19 minutes to 16 minutes. That 3 minutes reduction seems to be what you call this, a small figure. But then when you add that to say over a period of about 6 months, they were one of our early adopters. They were able to get 3,800 more productivity hours within that time. Then that translates to a lot of money in the US dollars saved for that client. So this was our first real breakthrough when we did that, the cycle time efficiency. And it speaks to the most important thing in mining, which is productivity. Then secondly, a client of ours in Zimbabwe, we optimized their truckloads and reduced their idle time, and fuel consumption dropped from about 60 liters to 49 liters per hour, if I'm not mistaken. And then that fuel efficiency translated to around 200,000 savings for them. So remember, we say that we want to create value for our clients. So now it was not only about them saving fuel, but then there's a value attached to the fuel that they had saved. We have a client that we helped to optimize their fleet. By reducing their trucks, which were part of the fleet, they were able to reduce lowering their operational cost as well. Then lastly, we helped operator performance through predictive maintenance. Through the real-time monitoring, the tons lost per week were dropped from 7,000 to around 5,650. We reduced their operational disruption by 20%. Sorry, I just had to confirm that so that I say something that is factual. Yeah. So yeah, so these are four different case studies and four different ways that we've helped mines that we're working with or mining contractors to be able to derive value, lower costs, increase productivity and sustainability, increase safety. More importantly, also help them in their carbon footprint through fuel reduction and idling time. It helps them to also reduce their CO2 emissions.
Wow, it's so exciting that you have been able to deliver these types of results in such a short amount of time. If somebody wanted to learn more about Kuchera, what should they do?
Yeah, so if someone wanted to learn more about us, it's just kuchera.global. That's our website, but we are very active on LinkedIn. It's Kuchera GmbH. We do have a demo that's on our website that shows how we operate and shows the values that someone can be able to get from our operational. And lastly, yeah, we are also looking to collaborate, like I said, with different players in the field. We know that technology is still evolving in mining, and there'll be more to be done in the future. So we are always open to collaborations and also getting into new markets as well.
Excellent, excellent. Well, thank you so much for making time to be here today, Kumbirai. It was an amazing interview, and it was really a pleasure learning more about Kuchera.
Thank you, Lisa, for inviting us.
Absolutely. And I do want to take just a moment to thank GuideForce for hosting these sessions. To learn more about GuideForce, you can visit guideforce.com. And we'll see you next time on the Tech and Space Leader Show.